Hello. How are you today, Robert?
I'm great, Kerstin. How are you?
I'm really good. It's nice to see you here again.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome to Raw and Real.
Yes, we finally figured out that's how it is, raw and real.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, it is. This, I guess, our second episode of our series on deep conversations on healing and awakening and self-love. Yeah. So welcome back. Nice to see everybody here in this space. And we decided that we would, I think we mentioned it maybe in the last time, that we'll pick randomly a topic out of the bowl so we can kind of just keep it spontaneous and what we're going to talk about. So,
Well, I will hold your hand and move
okay, perfect. Ready? Here we go. Together we pick. The topic today is embodiment.
Hmm, beautiful, beautiful.
Hmm.
So, Kerstin, dear heart, what the embodiment means to you? How does it, how does it feel to actually really embody?
It means to be living in from a place of inside myself, within my spirit, to be connected, to make that the focus of every day, that that's where I come from. That's my commitment, actually. I'm
Hmm,
committed to living from a place of spirit. I realize that, our humanness is a very important, beautiful part, but it's only one part of us. And for me, it's really important every day that I connect within and I honor what's being brought to me and told to me from inside of me, and that is what comes out as the truth. Because when I connect to me, to my spirit, the truth of who I am, um, then that allows me to be show up real and raw, if you like, and truthful. It's my wisdom. The wisdom comes from that place, It's not from the conceptual mind, which I've been caught up in so long in that ego mind most of my life, like to a point where I was almost obsessed with thinking, overthinking.
hmm.
And now I
I had my
feel
share of
like,
it too. Yes,
yeah,
yes, for
yeah.
sure.
So how about for you? What does it mean?
Embodiment of who we really are,
Mm,
right? Who we are really.
yeah.
That there's a lot of myopia going here. And myopia comes really from basically the programs of what we believe who we are. So basically living in the head. Whereas embodying, as it is really saying in the word, it's just being in your body, really. So this is the thing, and this is, I mean, I'm pretty sure it will be going get back to trauma and deep stuff because it's always kind of circulates to the same point. And that's to fully actually embody who you really are, you need to have that body available to you.
Oh, yes.
And most of us, I mean, majority or every one of us actually on this planet, uh, doesn't have that body available because we all experience trauma.
Mm, mm,
We all experience something which is blocking us from accessing that really, really deep, powerful. I mean, we have a snippets of it, but then actually flow gets always disrupted, and the mind comes with interruptions and like second guessing and doubt,
yeah,
that kind of a,
I hear you.
yeah. So and that kind of ultimately comes to love because there's the famous saying from Rumi that our job is not to look for love or to search for it, but simply remove all the blocks we build against it.
I love that quote so much.
Right? It's so beautiful, so
It is
beautiful.
so true. And we have so many blocks there
So
to
many,
love,
so
to the
many blocks to
truth.
love.
Yeah,
Hmm.
to who we really are, to that connection. Like, and I realize, like in my experience anyway, I've had so many of those blocks throughout my lifetime that have gotten in the way of me being truly present to myself and being able to be connected within. And it's taken a lot of years of healing and a lot of years of being able to even be awareness, huge awareness of the programs that I was running on that weren't really the truth of me. They weren't who I really am at a spirit level, at this level of heart, and at this level of being, as opposed to this false sense of worth that I was creating in my world because of all the programs I had running from not
Hmm.
feeling like I was enough and not feeling worthy, all
Hmm.
those things that I ended up people pleasing and looking didn't have within me.
Oh yeah, well, okay. Yeah, I didn't hear that for a second. It was just kind of interrupted.
Oh, can you hear
Or
me now?
yeah, yeah, I can, I
Lost
can. There was
you.
just like few words we just kind of missed. So
Okay. Got
oh,
you for
yeah,
a
was
minute.
that?
For a moment, I couldn't hear you. We
Yes,
must just have a little
yes,
lag in the internet, I'm sure.
yes. The internet connection. Hey, that's
Yes.
hopefully will be cooperating with us so
Yes.
people can hear and they don't. There's not too much missing. Yeah, because it's all coming from the heart. And it's important. I mean, all these words. Yeah, as you're saying, like, what is, like the mind? What is it? Like, there's so many definitions for ego, right? Ego
Mhm.
is simply thought in a head pretending to be you. I just really love that one. It's just so simple.
It
The thought
is.
in a head pretending to be you. Oh, you, this is who you are. Little limited human, you
And I
know?
remember being so caught up in that for so long that I believe that I was all those thoughts, that voice in the head that we're constantly hearing. Eckhart Tolle refers to it as ego. Michael Singer refers to it the roommate in the head. There's many variations of what it's called, but basically it's that voice that's in the head, and a lot of us let it run our life. But for me, it wasn't helpful most of the time, like because I was letting that, it was like a voice of judgment, as opposed to my voice of wisdom. And so once I learned to tune in to myself, then I could hear the voice of wisdom more clearly as opposed to the voice of judgment and letting that drive my car.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's a true embodiment because you're just like feeling how does it feel when this voice is talking and when this voice is talking? I mean, this one is not even talking, it's just kind of living through you, right?
Yeah.
It's not that kind of a talking voice, which is like a voice of the AI slave mind, which we are all living with, Just always,
Hmm.
oh yeah, your house needs to be clean right now. Oh, this is the very important thing. Or this you need to do, and this you need to do. I mean, these are all relatively important things, but not that it slaves you, enslaves you, right?
Yeah.
All these thoughts which we believe to be truth. So I think embodiment really for me is just like to really just deep listening,
Deep listening. Mhm.
like a deep listening to these really subtle currents of energy in you, and it just like is it giving you energy? Is it making you feel better, or is it robbing the energy from you?
Mm.
So it's just like
Absolutely.
is this life giving or life denying?
Yeah.
And when you look at it, there's so many life denying things around us and within us. So there's a lot of work to do to recognize it and to sift through it and to be really discerning and going, hey, this doesn't serve me anymore. This is
Mm.
why did I believe that? Oh, well, somehow I just took it on.
Yeah, for sure. I had to really tune into that when I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Um, just because I was in a place where I was letting the outside world control me, or I was letting myself be controlled by the mind more than I was by what I was feeling inside. But fibromyalgia was a beautiful gift for me because it allowed me to listen to what was going on within me. Because of the fact that I could sense that when my nervous system was in fight or flight, so when any time that the mind was having fear, and that fear, my body didn't know the difference. It was like it didn't know if it was real or not. Because if we're actually being chased by a bear in the wild, our body has certain functions it'll go through for us to be able to run away from that bear. But if we imagine we're getting chased by a bear, our body does the same thing and it keeps wearing down our adrenals. Our adrenals keep getting more and more down, worn down.
Mm.
And that's what was happening with me. As in my mind, I was having so much stress and anxiety. I was letting that take over. And that anxiety, that overwhelm, that exhaustion was completely wearing me down to the point where I could no longer function. So my body wouldn't work anymore. It was like, oh, I'm done. You're not listening to me. You're not paying attention. So I'm out, right? Time out. So that's where I had to really tune into my body. And I did that through my breath. And I continued to ask my body what it needed. And I checked in with my body. And anytime I felt any little bit of tension, I still do this to this day. it's awareness. I bring awareness in. Okay, where do I feel tense in this moment? Is it my neck? Is it my shoulders? Is it in my leg? Where is that tension? Because that's telling me something. It's telling me that there's part of me that there's some sort of thought process or emotion that I'm not processing, that I'm not acknowledging, and that I need to connect with so I can release it so that I can have relaxation there, so that I can then switch into the parasympathetic nervous system so my body can go into rest or digest, and so that I no longer am in that constant fight, flight, freeze, or fawn pattern so that my body can heal. And so it was a beautiful process. I'm so grateful now. At the moment, it was like, whoa, what happened here? I can't do my work anymore. I can't hardly walk down the hall to the bathroom. So you're kind of like, whoa, what's going on? But now I realize it was a beautiful gift to me to have been given that illness at that time because it was helping me to wake up and be really aware of what was going on within me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, yes, I mean, the similar thing happened to me through passing of my Sandra, 7 years ago, and that was exactly that just shut me down. Prior to that, I was just pushing, pushing, and trying to hold the situation together. It was crumbling by day, and then it just when it crumbled, then yeah, I experienced something I never experienced before. I couldn't just make my body to do things anymore.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah, I hear
I was always kind of a slave driving my body, and it's like, just do more, just push more, that part that we were talking about last time. So, so this just kind of really nailed me to bed,
you. Yeah, of course it did.
literally, like I couldn't move a finger, and I was just like, wow, what's happening? And it actually forced me to listen.
Hmm.
So what a gift and a
Yeah.
tragedy in the same time, but it's just what a gift to kind of sometimes, we need this kind of a halt, big halt, so we start to pay attention. Some of us are very kind of stubborn, you know.
I know I have been most of my life, and
Yeah,
that's
same here,
yeah.
So,
I need the big signs, the big messages. The little ones, oh yeah, I'll listen to them for a little minute, but then I keep on going, plowing through the old way, right? And how many of us do that? I mean, that is a reality of human nature. We end up doing that. There's different reasons why we do that, which
mhm.
I, for one, believe that came from myself from unhealed trauma that was in my body because that unhealed trauma ha brought something forth in me that made me want to push, push, push so that I would continuously do better, be better, that overachiever, so that
Mhm.
I would show up like so good in the world, so everybody would like me, because then they wouldn't see how much I was hurting inside on some level, and it would somehow make me feel better about myself if I got all of that recognition. So,
Well, again, when you just look at that, it's what do we derive our value from, right?
mm,
Uh, are we worthy because of doing, or are we worthy because of being? And
exactly. We're
how many
human beings, not
yeah,
human doings.
yeah, how many people could actually just even relate to that and say, what are you talking about? What a stupid thing to say. Of course you need to do more. Because you're always so basically there's that slave mind program instilled in ourselves, deeply programmed in and tells you that you're never enough.
It
You always
does.
have to do more. And I'm not saying not doing, because I think as human beings, we are just naturally creative. But
Absolutely.
it's a very different doing. It's not a doing from have to or try to improve your image or your identity. Because you cannot really add anything to you because you already are
Hmm.
as a being. You are just being. You're just this spirit who is having this human experience. So nothing else can be added other than the human experiences, but it's not going to make you better or worse. It's just
No.
like that it cannot be improved as a spirit. So the whole improvement project kind of goes
Yeah.
improving your identity, improving of course you improve things because you're just like a, human being, which, learn how to do things better, hopefully.
Yes, exactly. And
I mean,
when
that's
we
not the
allow our,
point.
sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to
Yeah, yeah,
interrupt.
yeah, yeah. No, that's not the point. It's
Yeah,
not the point of that. It's just like what is the motivation of our doing?
that's it. That's the
that's
key.
that's the really the key. Am I doing because I'm running away from something? And that's the bottom line. I think it's just bringing that back to that. as we are all traumatized here. And what is really trauma? I just really like that beautiful definition from Gabor Mate, that trauma is what happens inside you as a result of what happened outside of you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Something simply overwhelmed your nervous system. So it's not on the level of the head. And this is a long time to figure this out because we all tried, oh, I need to figure it out. I need to
Yeah.
cognitively figure it out. What's wrong with me? Was it this? Was it that? But ultimately, there's a circuit which is broken in our nervous system, right? Broken
Yes.
or overwhelmed, and it cannot really function to its best.
Yeah, it's like the breaker popped, right? Like it's just
The,
like
the,
when we
the
got
break
to
the breaker pop,
yeah.
and this is just my passion because I'm just obviously looking at it like there's things in me which needs to get completed, like the circuits which still needs to get healed.
I
And
hear.
and I and here we kind of go like, oh well, what is your capacity to speak, right now? Like, are you all healed? I think we are healing until we are breathing.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree
I
for
think this
sure.
is just the process of the human evolution, human
Yeah, I've
life.
heard people say that, they have, I've heard different healers say, well, I can offer this healing and you will be healed and that'll be the end of your healing. And in my experience, that's just not how it goes. I've had layers and layers upon different healing. There's points where I'm like, oh, I feel like, I'm at a good place at this moment, right? And then, something comes along and it triggers me to realize, which a trigger is a beautiful thing I've realized now that it offers me an opportunity to heal something deeper that I didn't realize was still there to heal. And so it gives me a new opportunity to look inside at what that might be. What emotion is it that I didn't want to process at some point? What did I shove away? What did I not look at? What's hiding and lurking in the dark that needs some light shone on? What needs some love brought to it because it's been pushed away and hasn't been acknowledged is within me. And I can just sense that sometimes. There's times where just fear arises or anxiety arises, and it's out of absolutely nowhere. And it's like, oh, where did that come from? And then I just pay attention to it and I go, oh, okay, what is it that is going on within me, And when I check in and I can really tune into that, then, something usually comes up and something arises that tells me, but I have to be quiet. I have to be quiet. I have to be in silence. I have to pay attention to it. For me, anyway, I can't, if all the noise of the world in my mind is going on and I'm getting caught up in all the doing and the be and the not being, then I can't obviously hear what my body is telling me.
It's beautifully said. And when you realize that actually the majority of this experience here on this planet is designed to distract you from this.
Mm, mhm.
So you never actually find out who you are because when we actually stop, we just start to righten ourselves. There's this self-rightening process, that actually just body starts to heal.
Mhm.
And of course, sometimes, I mean, in a case of trauma, we need other nervous systems to regulate. That just simply is not possible with these big things to do it on your own. I tried for 30 years or more, 32 years or 30 years, to try to do that. And then realize, oh, it's not working. I guess I need other people to co-regulate, to help me to see. And this is the big thing, I think for all of us,
Yeah,
to
for
just
sure.
realize.
Another person to acknowledge us and
Hmm.
witness us without judgment,
Yeah.
and also to feel their presence and to feel their nervous system and be able to connect with it. Really, co-regulation can be such a huge part in that trauma healing.
Mhm.
For
It
me, it
is.
has been anyway. It's
It's
been
huge,
huge.
huge,
Yeah.
huge. And that's but there's all these strategies, to kind of like, oh yeah, you don't feel good, well, you do this, you do that, you do this. It's all this doing, and the doing actually cannot do it.
It's true. I tried for a long time. I took all those different kinds of,
Yes. Yeah.
courses that were like,
Yeah.
you just do it and you do this and you do that. And it's beautiful. Like, and there's a lot of beautiful parts to it, like affirmations and gratitude. Those things are all very, very helpful. I believe they do help, but they don't heal. They help. They're tools to help us, but they're not what help. At least for me, they didn't heal me, right? They helped me, but they didn't heal me. So I believe, yes, we have to really be able to be present, but being present in the moment to get rid of the noise in the head, that voice of judgment that continues to talk. I believe we need to have that healing because otherwise that emotion rises at times and it starts to arise and we feel it. For me, anyway, I feel it come up and then it's like, ooh, wait, I can't deal with that. That's too much. And then the mind seems to come in and want to protect me. So it shuts it down. And then when I shut it down, I'm just putting like a pressure on it almost. So it's like, ooh, it just keeps getting pressurized in there. So in my experience of letting it go and being able to release that, it's been a beautiful process of being able to connect within, actually identify where that feeling is in the body. And if I hadn't been quiet and still and breathing, I wouldn't actually be able to do that. And then when I'm actually in that space, then I can actually name it or acknowledge it, let it be witnessed, and then allow it to have breath and love, and it changes something. It transforms it into something that isn't so dark. It was so dark before, it felt so hard to process, but when I allow it to come forth, it actually isn't as bad as I imagined it would be. Somehow the mind has, I guess because it originally, whenever whatever the original trauma was, it was a big thing for the mind, and the mind shut it down because there was no way the mind could handle that amount of emotion and what was going on, right? But then when I try to feel it later, it's like it gets to that point and it's like, oh, there it goes again. It's too scary to feel. But it when I allow myself to really feel it, it actually isn't as scary as I think. I've somehow made it to be something way bigger in my mind than it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing, but it's also that we need others for it, and
Mm,
this is like never actually, repeated enough.
it's
Uh,
true.
you know, I really like that analogy of the printer, like the printer, like you give it a printing job. Like let's say you have a printer. Not too many people have printers these days because we are all going digital, right?
Mm.
But you have your printer and you have a print 16 pages and you print 10 and unplug it because the circuit get blown off because it was too much electricity going through, let's say, kind of in a trauma sense. And then you put the printer into the closet for 40 years, and
Mhm,
suddenly you plug it back in, the circuit flows back and it starts to print those missing pages. Those
mhm,
six missing pages from 40 years ago start to suddenly print.
mhm.
Our body is very similar. Our nervous system is always trying to heal, but the conditions are not right.
No, that's right.
To have the right conditions, and this was the huge thing with transformational self-love for me. It was just like, okay, I'm having these unpleasant feelings, and when I actually address them and feel them and stay with them with the help of the other, then it makes an enormous difference.
Absolutely.
It is witnessed, and the printer can finish its printing job, and it's no longer a scary thing. But yeah, we have all. I love how Tara calls it. She calls it the hell caves. There are these hell caves in our
Mhm,
system.
mhm,
And to go into the hell caves, it takes a courage. It's the bottom line. And also it takes the a failing. Like when you fail at everything,
mhm,
which is always a wonderful thing, because you realize that those old ways that you tried so effortlessly with lots of effort, they actually don't work for actually touching these deeper things in us. And when you realize it, it's just like I failed well, so now you're actually in an open state. Okay,
mhm.
there's a surrender. It's just like okay, I,
Yeah,
I cannot actually do it. It's beyond me. This is not me doing it. It's something which happens when the conditions are right. So
yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I hear you. I love that analogy about the printer. It's interesting how we each have our own analogy of things. Again, I kind of think of it like
mm,
I was living in this big house with lots of rooms and an attic. And in the attic, I have some boxes I haven't unpacked yet. And that's kind of where the trauma is, right? Is in that dark attic up there. I live in the
mm,
rest of the house all the time. It seems good. Once in a while, I'll step up into the attic and I'll peek in. I'll be like, oh, there's those boxes. Oh, I don't want to open them yet. Down I go back to the note. And sometimes I don't even know they're there, right? And then,
mm,
it seems like with transformational self-love therapy, through having somebody there to be with me, to help me to breathe and connect within, to go to those places, I can then go into the attic. I can then go actually more than into the attic. I can go start opening up those boxes. and the boxes get opened up one by one. And as I open them, I realize, it's not as bad as I thought because the first box, yeah, it's a little harder to open up, but then, you go back down, live in the rest of the house for a while, and then come back and revisit the attic again and open another box, and it's not so bad. And as I've been opening more boxes, there's been some stuff that's come up that I didn't even know had been there, some stuff that had been stored in those boxes for a really long time and that I hadn't even didn't even know that that box had been there anymore. I'd forgotten about it, completely. It had totally been put away for 40 years. And all of a sudden, boom, I go up there and open the box. But now because I've been doing the healing and my nervous system is in a different place, it's calmer, it's more ready, it's not in a fear state. I'm able to accept more. I'm more calm. I'm more present. Opening the box up isn't so scary anymore. When I open that box, even though it had something pretty big in it was like, okay, like at one time that, and that's probably why the box wasn't open for so long because I probably couldn't have handled it. I maybe would have went off I had some sort of breakdown. I don't know. But now opening the box, I only had like a few hours or, half a day where it actually set me back. Whereas in the past, it would have set me back for a lot longer because I am more stable within me. My nervous system is in a different place.
That's the right timing for everything. That's why so much intelligence in these human bodies,
Mm,
and that's why this is your temple, and this is why the body is so incredibly important to take care of to your best ability. Because that's the temple.
mm,
Through everything through which you feel everything and experience this reality. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but still, I mean, we don't treat it as it would be obvious.
no,
Always. And,
that's
and
true.
and when you look at that and this is kind of like I wanted to kind of just talk a little bit about the truth, because the love and truth always comes together. The one without the other doesn't really work. And if we have a wrong information, then we never really get to our destination. And that's kind of my point about this, like let's say you would be going to somewhere and somebody would just change your direction by 1 degree,
Mm,
just knocks you off just a little bit. You will never get to your destination.
no, so
You
true.
know, it will just add up and you'll be totally in a different place. And you'll be just wondering why you're still lost somewhere.
Mm, mm,
And so that's so important to have the right information. And the right information comes through when you're open to see it. That pretty much there's an enormous amounts of lies and deceit all around us and within us, and being able to question everything.
mm.
And
Questioning is the truth is the big thing because that as soon as there's question, there it eliminates curiosity, right? So that questioning allows us to explore further to find the real truth there. As does compassion. Compassion and curiosity allow us to erase that judgment.
yes, yes, curiosity with compassion, exactly. How much more there is to know? Is this really true?
Mhm.
This is probably the most important questions to ask. We work on so many assumptions,
We do. We
in
sure
in,
do.
in life, and when you start to question things, and you realize that there's more and more things to question. It's just
And we can't see it if we're blocked by um, those limiting beliefs that are continuously running our life, right? Like if we're allowing that, or not allowing it, it's not like we're doing it on purpose, but if we haven't taken the opportunity to heal, and that place of being unhealed is now the program that's running in our mind, we see the world through that lens. So if somebody hurt us when we were young, or if we got the message even about money, that money was a bad thing, or if we got a message that relations there's no such thing as a good man in the world, whatever it is, that reality is going to be a belief that shows up in our world because we truly embody it and believe it. There's back to the embodiment again because we're embodying something that's actually not truly us. It's a program that was given to us that we chose to continue to um, bring into our life. We have a choice. That's another big thing is we don't often see that we have a choice because we don't have the awareness of what's there. But once we have awareness, then we have more choice.
totally, totally. And and again, only to just talk a little bit about New Age, the New Age, the whole New Age movement. It started quite a while ago, actually. And, of course, I kind of was drawn into it because I was an empath and I was going, wow, love and light and unicorns. This is important. This is going to heal everything.
I was drawn
Yes,
into that for a while too.
yes, it will if you add truth to it. And what is the truth? Because like it's that kind of like there was even you remember those times when we did there was that secret and this positive thinking. You just think positively and everything will turn fine.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
secret. Yeah.
like this it is actually purposefully built in distractions for the human consciousness to get caught in a cul-de-sacs for 30 years and stuck and saying how the fuck is working it for you? It's not. I'm having less and less money. I'm more and more tired, and I'm just love and light, and it's not working. So what's going on? So this is those things. We need to really question. There's just
Mhm.
yeah. So like never look at the negative things. Never look at the negative things. Look only on positive things. That's just it completely destroys the intelligence. Because when you actually look at the negative things, like let's say in a sense, oh, I have a hole in my roof and my house is getting moldy because the water is getting in. No, don't look at there. That's negative. Just think positively. The roof is not going to fix itself. And this is how it is with everything in this life. There's things which are wrong in this world, and we need to look at them. And when we
Well,
look at them,
if we don't, we can't have empathy or compassion either. And I think we tend
yeah,
to turn away from looking at the things in the world that are wrong when we haven't done our own healing too, because when we're
100%.
hurting too much, there's no way we can possibly look at anybody else's pain. Or we might look at it and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I feel bad for them," or "Boy, am I ever blessed. I'm so grateful because I'm not like that. I'm not starving like they are," right? That kind of thing. But instead, when we actually are a place of healing and we have true compassion, then we can actually do something about it. We can actually show up in the world and make difference.
Exactly, exactly. Then you can have a real capacity. So bottom line is actually healing our own thing.
Healing our own
It's
self.
all it's always coming back to us.
Yeah.
Because when we actually heal ourselves, our nervous system is more robust and stable to actually look at the things which are happening around us, and we can be actually not traumatized and destroyed by it,
Mm.
and we can actually just go, well, simply no. This is actually very powerful, when you actually just the simply the word no in English language. It's a powerful word. You just say, it's one of the most powerful words. You just say, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, 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 we'll push you, we'll trick you, we'll coerce you. No, I'm not doing it. It is just not okay. It's not right. It's not good for human. So this is where we have to really arrive with it.
Yeah, and
And
we
that
have to have the capacity, like you
we
said,
have
to be able
to have
to
the
to be able
capacity
to
to.
say no and be okay with it, that somebody
Mhm.
might not like our answer. They might not like that we said no, right?
Totally.
And it took me a long time to get to that place. Like, there's still moments where I'm not perfect, obviously, and there's moments where
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, that person didn't like what I said and I hurt them, I'd hurt their feelings or whatever. And I feel, but I'm like, wait a minute. My truth and who I am is what I need, and what I need to honor, and I need to take care of myself in a loving, kind way, and then that way I can show up loving and kind. If I'm saying yes to everybody out there and not, then I'm saying no to me. So if I say no to somebody else, then I'm saying yes to me. So that's something I've had to really learn.
And this is the true meaning of the self-love, right?
Mhm,
Are
absolutely.
are are we willing to love ourselves so much that we actually would put ourselves first? Like, I mean, this world is full of psyops. Oh, put others in front of you. Don't think of yourself. Think of others. No, take care of yourself first. Very good. Take care of yourself first, and then you can actually have any capacity of taking care of others.
Absolutely. And we have
I
to
mean,
each be responsible for ourselves. I mean, if we're not responsible for each of our own emotions, our own well-being, our own health, our own ourself, then who is going to take care of us? We have to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, like I just think about this perfect analogy, and you know it all too well too, having been a massage therapist for all the years you were, and me a much shorter time. But anytime I tried to give somebody a massage and I was not in a capacity to do it, if my body was hurting or something, I didn't give them a good massage. And and the days that I took that I knew that I had to say, I have to cancel today and take care of me, that allowed me a day to heal and take care of myself. So the next day, when I was able to return back to giving people the massages, I was able to do it from a place of a full cup as opposed to an empty cup, right? And I've noticed that's a
Totally.
huge difference, huge difference.
Massive difference. Yeah, and this is always this balancing act,
Balancing act, yeah,
right? And at
completely.
any given moment, are we giving from empty cup or are we actually really replenished? And now we can be actually at full capacity.
Yes.
And of course, people watching this might say, "Wow, this is not how it is in the world. That's kind of in your, unicorn world, but not in the real world." But what is this real world? Real world is a whole bunch of lies which we took for to be truth, and
Exactly.
it's the mass hypnosis of doing it, and no wonder people suffer. So this is when you say evolution of the human consciousness, and it's all really about evolution of human consciousness to really finding out the consciousness that really finds what it really is
Mhm.
rather than being caught in some ideas. It's always a feeling again, right? Just it's a feeling. Are we feeling expanded? And is there a flow? Is there well-being, or feeling be depleted? How many people now in the world at this moment as we speak feel anxious from the world events, what is happening around us? Because it really got into the grotesquely insane way,
Mhm.
as we are now pushing for the third world war and all other things. Not you and me, because not human beings don't push for wars. That's not really what is in actually our nature. Because when you ask anyone, would you like to have a war against someone? I mean, just naturally, as a mother, right?
Mm.
You would never send your kids to get slaughtered or anything like that, right?
No, for
So
sure.
what is this force which was manipulating the human reality for all these centuries, really?
I don't
Which is
know.
still doing the same thing because it's just like, when you look at it and it's just a rinse and repeat. But now lots of people see it because, I mean, last 5 years really shook up lots of people, right? It was a, I
Mhm.
had a huge shook up there, really, I was kind of open to certain things, but then when you see the global fascism being unrolled, like fully, then you go, holy smokes, what is really happening? I came from communistic country, right? I've seen these things, and anybody who came from these post-communistic countries, they just could recognize it right away. They're just like, oh boy, what's happening? It's here now,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, well, the collective ego, I think, is the biggest, at least that's what I feel it is like this, you know, people getting so caught up in the thoughts of the mind and the programming and what we
Hmm.
should do and the guilt and the shame and the pain that's within and
Hmm.
hurt people. And so
Hmm.
when people get collective together and they come in groups, then it becomes a division, and this all becomes a bigger problem, I believe.
Totally. And this is the only way how we can do it. The only way how we can do it is to unite under the one banner only, the freedom.
Mhm.
Freedom to be who you are, not to
Authenticity, yeah.
impose your views on anyone else. You do you, I do me. Just and when you look at it, the world is getting just in a very very massive way. It's getting actually just pointed towards the central power, and that's through artificial intelligence, of course, and it's a global effort. The politicians are basically just the paid actors. But you just see it how it's coming always to the same point: the global, you know, one-pointed power, control of the power, and who is that power? You or me? Who is deciding about these things? So it's not us. So this is what we actually have to really see as humans. That this is there's something we are kind of like 5 minutes before midnight. I actually see it because it's a seriously important time in the human consciousness just to kind of say, what's enough of it. Let's just stop. Let's connect. Together we triumph. Divided we fall. It's
Mhm.
always the same game which was played for millennia. And so this is very important, and a big part of it is, as you said, we were talking about it since the beginning, is the as your egoistic mind, it's the program in the
Mhm.
head, right? It is
Yeah.
not who you really are, it's the program pretending. and
Well,
telling you,
and if
whoa, this is
and the
coming.
fear that comes from that, that's the big thing. That's the fear. It's the fear that gets us stuck, I believe, right? Because if there's a
Hmm.
fear that we're not going to fit in with this group or that group, or we need to do this or we need to do that because of whatever reason, whatever the program is for us, then we're not living out of a place of authenticity. We're doing it out of the voice of somebody else's voice that's become something that we've now taken on as our own voice, but it's not who
Beautiful.
we truly are.
Totally, totally, exactly. It's not coming from your inner evolution of consciousness. It's being imposed to you.
Exactly.
Anything which is being imposed is not you and it's not true. It's not good for humanity.
No, so we have
Yes.
to check in with ourselves, like check in and say, is this truth? That's how I live my life now. And like I have to get
Yeah.
quiet for a moment through my breath, I connect and then I can ask myself, is this truth? Is this the truth?
Mm,
That's the
exactly.
only way we can know, I believe.
Wow. And it's again like this, the time just flew.
It
Everything
does. It always does. Do you want to just maybe wrap up our session with guiding people to that connection with their breath so that they have an opportunity to experience the truth within them?
absolutely. It's everybody's own truth, you know, it's just very simple. Yeah, just some
Yeah.
kind of sitting comfortably and just take a deep, relaxing breath all the way into your sacrum. Deep, relaxing breath. Feeling the chair underneath you, feeling the ground underneath you, and feeling your own breath coming in and out. You can feel the openness and spaciousness of your own inner being. Together we triumph, divided we fall. If you remember that, everything is well.
Hmm. We can sense the oneness within one another when we get present within one another and we connect in that way through our breath. We can really feel the oneness within us. Hmm. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us here in this space. And we're really grateful for each one of you who've taken the time out of your busy day to listen to what we have to say. And if you want to join our conversation, please put something in the comments to let us know maybe what topics you want to hear us talk about. Any feedback we're welcome to, whether it doesn't, no, there's no good or bad. We're open to everything. And if you like what we have to say, you can subscribe down below and share. And we really appreciate you and we hope you'll come back and listen to our next episode in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you. Thank you,
I
Robert. Really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day.
appreciate you too. You
Okay,
too.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.